Alright, so we're going to continue modeling our body here. Today we're going to just clean up this model because he's pretty rough. He's not looking very good. We got a lot of big quads over here, giant triangle right there, really flat collapsed in butt. So we're going to clean up this guy. So I'm just going to right click on him and go hide unselected. So it'll hide everything else but my body here. So we'll start with the chest. I'm just going to save this file as the plus sign to add another line here or another version, and then go from there. So first thing we're going to do is going to get rid of this big triangle. So we have right now we have these lines going straight down, and then we have this line kind of going up in through the shoulders, which is nice, but then these guys just kind of continue all down, and that's not what I want. I want some of these to actually go across. So let's take a look at what we can do here. So I'm going to just shift this down a little bit. Start getting something like that. I'm going to go to my cut tool, and I'm just going to cut right across there. And then I'm going to cut right across that. So we should slowly start having some nicer shapes here. All right. There we go. So we now have nice quads traveling through there. We'll have to do the same thing here. All right, there we go. Remove that. Just adjust these here. Alright, so we have some nice quads going on in there. Might bring some of these down to kind of keep these quads the same shape. There we go. It's looking alright, so let's see what we can do here. So we'll have to do the same through across here. Let's just get rid of that. So let's get another cut going in here. I'm going to clean up some of this. There's just too many lines kind of going there. I don't need all those lines for his chest right now. I don't really need these. So I'm going to just delete those. Alright, we'll just want this one traveling through there. Oop. Okay, added a few too many verts here. Just target weld that back into place. Alright. Let's see what we have here. So we have that going on in there. Now I'm going to need kind of a loop around my arm as well. So let's take a look. You know, maybe I shouldn't have deleted that one line. Let me just undo. Alright, so we have that. We have quite a bit of lines going through here. One thing we're going to need is a line under the armpits here. So I'm just going to go through and just start cutting. So what we're going to need to do is we need to basically have a nice line going around the whole armpit so the arm can deform, kind of like the circles that we did around our eyes and things like that. So let me just fix up some of this. Alright, well, that's the kind of stuff that 3D Max does not like. Let's just start over. Alright, starting new video. Alright, so we're going to continue modeling our body here. This is where we left off. We have some big triangles going on, flat butt, and really flat kind of front area here with not a lot of detail. So we're going to go through and start cleaning him up. I'm going to select my body. I'm going to hit this little light bulb on the bottom here to isolate my selection. I'm going to go to Edit Poly. Going to just save my file as. Going to do an incremental save just to add an extra step there, just in case I lose my stuff. Always save lots. Never be afraid to, to not save, because you don't want to be in that situation. So let's take a look at what we have here. So we're going to clean up the chest because he's got the big triangle there, and all that. So let's kind of get to that. So what we're going to want is we're going to want some nice quads and some nice loops going across this way. So I'm going to just use my cut tool here. And just cut some nice loops like this. And maybe one more for the neck. So you can start seeing we're going to have these nice loops going around here. Obviously right now they're not very nice. We have a lot of triangles and strange shapes and things like that. So we're going to go through and adjust all this. So again, with every poly that and try that you add, you got to go through and clean up your body, your mesh, right? Make sure you're actually using everything to model out the silhouette and the shape of your character. Never add stuff for the sake of adding. So we're going to do some of the same things here. Going to just attach that there. And then cut through the back to kind of get a nice loop. And then this one we're going to want to have him kind of cut across. Did I attach that one to that? So we could have him, what do we cut him? We cut him across here. That's okay, I'm just going to remove these middle ones here for now. Okay. Let's take a look what we have. So let's clean up some of these. Let's just get rid of that. And that for now. Alright, so we're starting to get some loops here. They're not quite quads and all that yet, but that's okay. I'm going to just remove a few of these. Actually, maybe I'll keep that one for now. So let's just save here. So what we're going to want to do is start connecting. This line here goes from the middle of my leg and it goes up here. We're going to want to have him kind of connect up to these loops here. Right, and the next thing we're going to need before we're going to start connecting is, just because it's going to start adding a lot of things, is we're going to start needing to kind of crisscross some of these loops here with some loops underneath the armpit, because we're going to need to deform all of this when we animate. So we're going to need some loops, much like around the eyes and things like that. We're going to need some loops around this way. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut right through all of this. Maybe through, how high? So yeah, I guess we could do it up to there. Now make sure those are connected to the same kind of loop here. Sure that arm is as round as we want it to be. It's pretty good. Alright, so we have that one loop going underneath there, and then what we're going to want is we're going to want to continue what we were doing straight from the armpit. So right from that corner there, we're going to want to have another loop, possibly just connecting up to here. Maybe going through, let's just connect him to there for now. And let's do something along these lines here. Let's just connect those two. We might actually want to remove this and just connect him up through here. We'll just add an extra loop because that was looking kind of messy. I didn't like how that was looking, so oops, like that. There we go. Let's just clean up some of these here. There we go. We got a nicer looking loop going on. There we go. It's looking a little better. So if I select this edge here and I hit ring, it'll nicely ring right around there. So that's a nice loop. That's exactly what we want. Now when we deform the arms, they'll deform a lot nicer out through here, which is exactly what we want going on. Alright, now let's clean up some of these chest loops here. Just have this flowing nicely. So again, something I've been really pushing in class is just make sure you clean up or take a look at your model from every angle and clean it up from every possible. Just look at it from the bottom, from the top, from all different sides. You want to make sure that is as clean as you can get it. You know, last thing you want to do is have a really messy model like that. So I'm actually going to just remove these two here because I don't think we're going to need them for now. We're going to connect up some of the stuff down here and maybe spread out some of this because it's looking a little cluttered. There we go. A lot easier to get nice shapes with less polygons in the beginning. You can really get lost in what you're doing if you start adding too many things, so nothing wrong with just going through and just removing things. So that was on the back. Just going to go through and just clean up some of this as well. These will be my shoulder blades. Alright, there we go. This I'm going to want to have it come out and start going down as well. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete just this polygon for now. This is where our head's going to start attaching to. If you have been kind of catching on to why we're making these loops up here, this is where our neck is going to be. So what we're going to do, we're going to just take this loop here and I'm going to cut it along there just to give myself a little bit more to play with here. I'm just going to round this out. And obviously these are not triangle, or these are triangles right now, so we're going to clean those up in a little bit of time too. that's where our neck is going to connect. Alright, so let's take a look at what we have here. We have some triangles there, but the rest of these are nice quads. We have a triangle up here too, which we'll fix in a little bit of time. So let's take a look at what we can do to fix up this neck right now. So we have these guys kind of flowing in up here and in there, and then we have this kind of going in here. So all we can, the simple ways is taking this vert here. I can use my chamfer modifier, or not modifier, my little ability here. Just going to select that. Just going to drag up. And I'm going to do the same thing for this guy. And I'm just going to remove, holding control backspace, just remove those ones there. There we go, perfect. And we're going to want to move that back in. Slide that nicely in there. There we go. And we'll try and mimic what we've been doing in the front with the back here. So I'm actually just going to remove these ones here because these are unnecessarily there. Alright, let's get these smoothed out. Alright, that's looking nicer. Well, looks like we have a try in here as well. That's no good. How did that get in there? So let's see how it's being dealt with in the back here. So this guy comes straight back into here, and this guy goes in there. So we just need to add an extra edge. There we go. We can just smooth that out. And we'll readjust these things as we start adding the head and all that. So one of the things I've been really trying to push in class while talking to you guys is keeping your lines just flowing really nicely through your model. So the one thing you never want to do is have these lines, zigzag like this. So you see this, if I double click on this guy here, he's one line. You don't want him zigzagging back like this. You want him to be flowing. The way I kind of like to explain all your edges on a model, this one's kind of okay because that's for a chest, so we'll need that, but we can straighten him out too because we're going to be just taking him into ZBrush anyways, or my box. The way I like to really think of all your edges in a model, it's as if you're making this wireframe out of fairly tense wire or sticks or something like that. So yeah, you can shape all these individual, like if this was one long wire, you can kind of bend and shape it, but you shouldn't be able to make these really hard, sharp edges. You can just kind of gently bend things over a period of, over a distance. So try and keep things nice and smooth. Same with these rings going around. You want them to be as smooth as you can possibly make them. So that one there, it's nice and smooth. If I look at it from the top, it's generally a nice circle. Same with the next one here, right? You wanna try and keep everything into as nice of a shape as you can. Even if you look at the arms here, you have that shape there. It's a nice smooth shape. And the more you focus on that, the better your model will just look from all different sides. Alright, so I think our chest here and our neck area is pretty good. We'll be able to attach the head sometime soon. The next thing we want to take a look at is some of the stuff going on here in the arm. So we have a really big old triangle right here, which is no good. But the nice thing about that is we have these really low poly arms. So if I select this edge here and hit ring, if I hit connect, now I have, I'm going to actually delete these faces here where the hand is eventually going to attach. If I select this guy, now I have some room to play with to actually round this out a little bit. because my arms were looking very, very boxy before. So I did that, and then hey, look at this. I now have a quad in here too. You know, so that goes nicely around there, follows these loops. These loops go across, and these loops still kind of go across here. So this one kind of goes down. He's a little weird, I guess, but he's pretty good. That's kind of what we want. Let's just do that to the other side too. Just make sure that's a nice quad there. And let's round out the arm a little bit on this side too. Alright, so remember those shapes, right? Those keeping everything in nice shapes. Let's look at that hole of where the wrist is going to go. Right now it's a circle. Yeah, it's going to be flatter later on, but right now it's fine just to keep it a nice circle. That just means we'll have a nicer shape of the arm. Now, you might notice that my quads, hopefully you notice, my quads here are all roughly the same length, right? Going from this one to that one, so this edge, this edge, this edge, they're all the same-ish length, right? This one isn't super long, and this one's not like super tiny. You know, you don't want stuff like that. You want to keep things all nicely the same, more or less the same length. Now that goes the same way with faces. So obviously we have some problems here because our faces are really long here and then short here. That's okay. We could just add. We just hit that. Hit ring. Hit connect. I hit C because I have it on a shortcut, but you can just hit this connect button right here. And we're going to use the constraints. I'm going to put it on edge. Constraints will let you move this guy up and down while trying to keep the shape. Now you see they're going to do some weird snapping if you move around too much. So you kind of have to try and move along whatever edge you want it to be. So I'm just going to move these a little closer. Turn my edge constraints off and maybe shrink them down a little or something like that. I'm going to do the same thing for these ones here. I'm not overly concerned about keeping their proportion all the same. There we go. That's looking better. Alright, so we have we've cleaned up all of the triangles on the top part of the body, which is great. Now let's take a look at this here. We got these giant faces over here. Look at that face. That's terrible. It's super huge. And so, you know, if I add a cut over here, that's kind of breaks those up, but then these are really small, which is okay. So we're going to do that for now. Oops. So it's going to move that in a little bit. I'm going to move these ones up a little because these faces are looking a little long themselves. So I'm going to just adjust some of these guys here. There we go, that's looking better. Now let's bring these in here. These are looking much better, much more like a regular shape. However we want our abs to be, we'll do that. We'll bring them up on the back as well. And we'll push them in a little bit more because the back is nice and curvy. All right, push these guys in. Remember that bent wire kind of idea. You got to keep these flowing nicely. All right, and so we still have these giant faces, but then we have small faces up on this side. So you don't want to just do another cut like that because that's not going to help on the side. And then you also have this. This is a 5-sided polygon, which is no good. But the easy solution, which is exactly what we want to do, is you want to use your cut. And you're going to cut from here and just straight across. So now that line goes between my legs. I do have a really crazy polygon over here, but that's okay. We are going to solve that really quickly. So let's bring that down. And then what we're going to do is, because we still have these long faces here, we're just going to cut across the belly like that. And now we should actually have enough polygons to play around with. and throw this inwards. There we go, that's flown much nicer with our legs. Right. Get that looking however you want it to look for your model. Alright, we're going to do the same thing for the butt. Let's go hit save here. And same deal, so I'm going to connect these ones and then these ones. That'll give me my quads and it'll give me enough verts to play around with to actually make a butt for this guy, so he's not super flat. Now we do have some tries in here, so we'll fix those up in a second too, so don't worry about those for now. Hopefully you noticed those were there. So I'm going to punch some of this out, give him a little bit of booty. There we go. Bring that out a little bit too. All right, make these flow nicely in between. Go. I mean, they're pants, so mine aren't going to be super tight, so I don't have to really give them like a butt crack kind of thing, which is alright. Alright, there we go. That's looking pretty good. So again, we have these triangles going down here. So the easy fix for that is we're just going to run some polygons just right through here, or some edges right through. So we're just going to go cut. And then on the other side, we'll do the exact same thing. Oops. So I can just remove that one there. Whoops, I don't know what I hit there. Backspace. And just going to even these out. Alright, there we go. And do the same thing on the other side here. Just going to select those edges, backspace them. There we go. Now we got enough polygons to get a nice kind of flow through there and a nice amount of polygons in the legs. So that's looking good. I think we're all try-free for the most part. I don't see any other ones. So let's just give ourselves a few more details in the legs here. So I'm just going to bring these guys up. Alright, just even up that poly count, remember, keeping things the same-ish size and shape and stuff like that. Let's take a look at our character from the front. Might be looking a little funky with what I did here with the crotch, so you might want to just push that in. You don't want to make it too tight because it's going to get a bit of a pain for modeling, but that's okay too. There we go. That's looking alright. Got some legs. Let's add some detail in the shins here. And then we'll add an extra one around the knee. There we go, he's looking pretty even. Alright, and so let's just take a look at the feet, what we got going on here. They're not overly complicated, but that's okay too. That's exactly what I want. I'm going to be sculpting some toes on my character, so hopefully your character just has shoes and he's not barefooted like the mistake I made of my character. So it all depends what you're looking for and what you need with your person. But I'm going to go ahead and make some toes for my guy. So first I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another loop around here. Give me a bit of room to play around with some of the silhouette of my feet. There we go. Bring that up a little bit, and there you go. So if you have shoes, that's good enough for your character for having some shoes. And if you want some toes on your character, I'm just going to give my dude 2 toes. So it'll all depend what you want it to do. We'll do the hands in a later tutorial, so you kind of follow that if you're going to give him like a really crazy feat, which I don't recommend you do. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to split these toes here. So I'm just going to go, actually I'm going to cut this way. I want my inside toe to be bigger. Then I'm just going to remove these edges. And select that vert and that vert. I'm just going to hit connect. That way it'll split my toes up nicely. And then I will just cut from there just to connect those back up. Now you might want to give yourself a little bit more space because mine's all kind of clamping in here, which is probably not that great. So I might actually give myself a little bit of space in between the toes. So I'm just going to chamfer these. It's going to make a bit of a mess, but that's okay. Yeah, nothing wrong with messing up your model as long as you're confident in knowing that you're going to clean it up. You'll be fine with that. Let's see, how do I want to clean this up here? Because it'll get really, really messy if I don't do it right. Alright, so we'll do something like that. Okay, and then I will probably take this down a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe we'll keep that up there. So we got some loops going on in there. I might actually add a middle in here because it'll get really messy to try and clean up something like that. Oops. And then I'm just going to cut from here and give myself a loop around like that. That way if I need to animate them, it'll help. And that way I'll have some nice quads going on in here. And I'll have to do the same thing for the inside. Oops. I hit delete instead of backspace. So I'm just connecting these, and I'll have to do the same cut on this other toe here. Alright, there we go. And I will probably just add some edges from my toes here. And I know it's a little bit more detailed than the rest of the body, but that's okay because we're going to need to model more detail on the toes, like you know, thumbnails and or not thumbnails, toenails and stuff like that. So I am a-okay with adding some extra detail. Alright, there we go. So we got our toes. Might even pull these guys in a little bit more. And I'll definitely want to make my big toe, you know, a little bigger. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me again. Okay. And there we go. We got some toes. So I'll show you what those look like. There you go. So that's it for our character up to this point. We're ready to move on to add some hands and attach the head, and then make some armor and additional elements for him. So there you go. That's that. Take a look at him from the front. I haven't compared him to my model in quite a while, so that looks pretty good. Not too worried about my feet there. And let's take a look at him from the left. He's looking all right. All right, there we go.